record. We'll pretend like I hit record earlier. All right, so today we're going to have Jim Dodmead talk to us about Cybersecurity Awareness Month. I did want to kind of go around the room, though. I don't have necessarily any Rotary news to share other than if anybody is interested, they're doing a rerunning of the membership, the district membership committee thing that Uta and Keith and I attended. They're doing a rerunning of that this weekend on Saturday. So I'll send that out in an email to everybody after the meeting if you want to attend. Uta, that gives us a chance to see that one lady that I think all three of us missed. So it'll be on Saturday morning. Keith, as we talked about, I'll see what I can do about getting a recording or recording it myself because I know that you're going to be busy camping. I hope that everybody's healthy and doing well where you are.
Thank you. Yeah, we're she's got 100% blockage on the right side of the heart, but according to the doctor, she did her own bypass around it using other arteries there, and so he's not going to try to put a stent in. He's just going to hope to decrease the fluid by medication and let her go on.
All right. Well, we're all sending good vibes for you guys to be healthy and safe and non-stressed. Hopefully camping in the mountains makes that happen. It would make it happen for me for sure. So I'll go around the room. Is there anybody who has anything to share? Any happy Bucks moments or other news you'd like to share?
I will share the thing
Yes.
with t-shirts actually. So Deb and I went to a Rotary friend from our district and we made some samples for the t-shirts because you know our club have no t-shirts, and so we thought I picked some. Like this is a polo shirt for women with but you can say whatever you want to say with it, with the name, with the first name over here and the logo over here. And we have also a business shirt. If somebody says on the business shirt is in cotton, 100% cotton, longer short sleeves, whatever you want. The price is the same, but also with the logo on it and the name on the other side. If you want to like it a bit more formal, you see, like this. And I think it came out pretty good, right?
They look great.
Yeah, they came out great.
And I have it outside. I brought a cap also, because you know when we riding with the motorcycles, most of the time the styling is gone, you know, after you put the helmet away. So this is why we made some caps as well. But I can show you after the speaker, and then I can pick it up and bring it in. So
I like the button down. That's nice.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you. So the question is, if anybody want, you know, to have a shirt, we can make it in another color. I picked the blue because I didn't want so many different kind of colors in the logo. I think that's not looking good most of the time. And it's a very light and breathable polo shirt, and the other one is cotton. So it's a little bit more for the more formal part.
Yeah, so we can for sure talk at the next board meeting about how we would go about ordering it and what the best way to do that is.
Yes.
Cool. Anybody else have good news to share?
I have wonderful news.
Yes, Brian.
I've been 2 months on pediatrics and I've been all well babies. This month I'm on nursery, and it has been absolutely the best couple months I have had since I started medical school.
That's awesome, Brian.
Good.
Congratulations.
I have something. I just turned in my complete dissertation. I still have to do revisions, but I turned in my draft. So
awesome. Congratulations, David.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Would you like to, I think we should set aside a meeting for you to go through it for us. You can present it to us before you have to defend it for other people.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You're like, that's a horrible idea. Deb, were you raising your hand?
I am going to be speaking at a local Rotary Club. I'm going to be giving a talk about life in the universe. It's a new course that I've developed that I'm teaching. So talking about extraterrestrial life.
Fun.
So I'm looking forward to that.
So I want to hear
That sounds interesting, actually. I would enjoy that.
I would love that.
We need to probably, I would like to start sprinkling us back into myths. It's one of the
I'm sorry,
things that I'd like to
cut out
start
a little bit.
sprinkling us back into the speaker mix.
Okay.
We've got some new people, I think, that haven't even done an About Me yet. Deb, for example, hasn't. You know, so we got a couple other things we need to do. Alrighty. I hit a personal record on my back squat today. Yeah. That's all
All right.
Somebody said, "Hey, is that your body weight?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Is that a personal record?" I said, "Well, unfortunately, yes, because this is the heaviest I've ever been. Let's move on." So, alrighty. Anybody else have anything to share?
Yeah, my 20-year-old is back into town after working on the ranch in Colorado, and this past weekend we took the R65 out for him getting a little practice, and hopefully Friday we go into the DMV and finally get his license done.
Nice. Awesome. Well, congratulations on getting your kid back. I think we're supposed to kick them out permanently at some point, right, Scott? Do they ever?
Oh, it's across town, not living at home.
Okay.
Yeah, I got some good news. We got a Australian neighbor who just bought his first Harley, and he's all geeked about being a motorcyclist now.
Well, he's geeked about being a motorcycling Rotarian, you mean?
Well, we'll have to work on him being a Rotarian, but he's all geeked about being a motorcyclist to
That's
start
awesome.
with. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, they're hard to get over there. That's cool.
Mhm.
All right. Last call. Alrighty then, Mr. Dodmead, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Scott, when I got my motorcycle license in San Francisco, they told you to go around the block, and if you made it back, you got your license.
That must have been a little while ago. They do it different now.
That was quite a while ago.
Well, then nowadays in San Francisco, if you make it around the block on a motorcycle, you probably deserve the license.
So I'm not going to be able to see the chat. So if you have a question, either interrupt or save it till the end or something like that. Am I ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Oh, hold on one second. I think we're waiting for somebody to come in. Tom Dines and I were in some other meeting there. So.
Yeah, there was a waiting room. They enabled the waiting room all of a sudden, so I'm letting you guys in as I see you.
Okay, so he might be coming up because I gave him the meeting number. But other than that, I'm sorry. We can go ahead.
I'll keep an eye out and make sure I let him in right when he comes in.
Thank
you. I've been using the opportunity to do this cybersecurity update for some of the local clubs here too. I've been in the area here for about 15 years, and I haven't been in any of the other clubs until this year, so it's been kind of interesting. I won the lottery in 1970, and I've been working for the Navy ever since. It was either go camping in the jungle or go on a cruise. So you can figure out which way you would go. Now I'm working as a cyber defense forensics analyst and a cybersecurity validator on Navy systems. The systems I work with are on what I call the bleeding edge of technology, which is why I'm still working. If it got boring, I'd probably quit. I assess systems to ascertain if they implemented their cybersecurity properly, and if not, I recommend solutions. If you have any suggestions for improving the briefing, I would appreciate any input you have. And it's not moving. It's thinking no. Can you still hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay,
now you're moving.
Okay. We're going to go through some of the history and evolution of this technology area. You're going to find that hacking has been around for quite a while. We're going to go over a few of the highlights. We're going to talk about some of the areas of security and some actions you can take to protect yourself both personally and professionally. You should not consider this presentation to be all-inclusive. Cybersecurity is a rapidly moving target, and it changes daily, if not hourly. You should consider the information here as a starting point, a baseline to consider some of the things that you may want to start doing. In 1903, John Fleming, preparing for his demonstration of sending Morse code wirelessly over long distance for the first time. Then it happened. The apparatus began to tap out a message, rats, rats, rats. Then a poem came in. There was a young man from Italy, referring to Marconi, who diddled the public quite prettily. They were being trolled. Therefore, the first trolling incident occurred 117 years ago. One of the greatest heroes of World War II was René Carmilla, the French Army controller. He is often credited as the first hacker for his work in defying the Nazis by using the IBM system that was being used to track down French Jews. Not only did he withhold information about the Jews from the Nazis, but he used data mining to find thousands of ex-French soldiers who might be good recruits for the French resistance. Then there was 70-year-old Joy Bubbles. He started the phreaking phenomenon by getting a dial tone to the telephone system for free by whistling a tone of 2600 hertz. Here are some of the milestones associated with cybersecurity. We see the first virus, the Creeper, as early as 1971. Creeper was an experimental self-replicating program written by Bob Thomas from Bolt, Beranek, and Newman Technologies in 1971. In 1985, a couple of us sailors, that was me and another guy, wanted to test a computer we had installed, and we guessed the password. Imagine our surprise when it came up and told us it was at a higher classification than either of us were authorized for. I turned this in, and the leadership took care of it. In 2000, you probably remember the I Love You virus that spread like wildfire and cost billions of dollars of damage. The dawn of cyber warfare was in 2007 when Russia attacked Estonia, and again in 2008 when Russia attacked Georgia. In honor of the dawn of cyber warfare, NATO cyber headquarters is located in Tallinn, Estonia. Today we see evidence of cyber warfare and hacking every day on the news. AIDS, also known as AIDS InfoDisc or PC Cyborg Trojan, is a Trojan horse that would count the number of times the computer had booted. Once the boot count reached 90, AIDS hid the directories and encrypted the names of all the files on the C drive. $189 was the charge to get your data back. As for the $10 million stolen in 1984 from Citibank, those perps were all busted and did hard time. Anonymous is a decentralized international hacktivist group that is widely known for its various cyber attacks against governments, corporations, and even the Church of Scientology. This organization has resulted in the term hacktivists. 0121 is a North Korean cyber warfare agency. Cyber operations are a cost-effective way for North Korea to maintain an asymmetric military option, as well as a means to gather intelligence. The last incident at OSD, Office of Secretary of Defense, resulted in Homeland Security Presidential Directive 12, requiring significant effort in identification and access management, for which we have spent billions of dollars to implement. In 2008, Chinese hackers attacked the U.S. government, DOD, Senator McCain, President Obama, the New York Times, non-orbit satellite, the Washington Post, and probably a bunch of other places we're not aware of. You've probably heard of Stuxnet, where the Iranian nuclear enrichment capability was attacked. Supervisory control and data acquisition, SCADA, generally controls nuclear power plants, water treatment and distribution, power plants, power distribution, sewage treatment, ships, and even airplanes. If you don't believe me, do a search on Planesploit. But after you see what it can do, don't plan on ever getting on a commercial airliner again. SCADA is a control system created with almost no security, which many companies unwittingly connect to the internet. Security for this technology is being improved, but it takes a lot of work to secure 60-year-old technology that's being used all over the planet. This is a partial list of risks and what could be done to control those risks. Everyone knows what needs to be done for these attacks, but it all costs money. To mitigate the results of a ransomware attack, you should take frequent backup copies of your data. In order to protect your intellectual property, you want to encrypt your data or keep it off the network. Critical national infrastructure is a lot more fragile than you think. Many of the large-scale systems like factories, water or fuel distribution plants, national power grids, national gas distribution pipelines, and so on are controlled by SCADA systems. These were developed in the 60s, and this was before anyone thought their system would be accessible via a global network. If you want a good example of intellectual property theft, look in the lower right-hand corner of this slide. The picture on the left is the US space shuttle. The picture in the middle is the Russian space shuttle. And the picture on the right is the Chinese space shuttle. When I see these pictures, the term stolen intellectual property comes to mind. There is DHS, US CERT, and DoD Cyber Command, which all provide oversight to national cyber services in order to protect networks and systems. Financial systems are critical to the world. Excuse me. Imagine if credit cards or ATM cards could not be used. It is impressive that the financial industry has started using smart cards and multi-factor authentication by sending an email or a text with time-based one-time password. I suspect that this has dramatically improved the security of the financial system. The loss of national intelligence can be catastrophic. We have people all over the globe that are in clandestine roles in our national interest. The loss of intelligence could potentially expose clandestine operatives to fatal risk. Also, the exposure of our sources and methods may render them useless for future intelligence efforts. Let's talk about personal cyber hygiene. You should review your credit reports every year from all 3 credit reporting agencies. These are not only used for credit evaluations, but for auto insurance and even for my security claims. As for passwords, make sure you use complex passwords with upper and lower case, numbers, and special characters. You may also want to consider using a password management application. Never reuse passwords between different sites. Once the bad guys get your password, they will be able to access everything. Patch, patch, patch. Keep all your systems up to date. 85% of the vulnerabilities that are exploited have already been solved. It's just that the patch has not yet been installed. Never take any significant action based on an email, social media, telephone call, or voicemail. If you get an email from anyone asking you to take significant action, make an independent verification, such as a telephone call, before you grant access to your computer, change your password, or transfer money. A cracker or a malicious actor can subtly change a URL, and it is very difficult to catch. One company sued to stop this practice, but the courts ruled that this practice is legal. If you look at that last bullet, you look at, instead of PayPal.com, they might call it mypaypal.com. Or instead of USAA.com, they might call it myusaa.com. Or instead of Amazon.com, they might call it Amazon.org. We're going to see in a couple of slides how you can check this. The Internet of Things, such as your smart TV, Ring doorbell, smart refrigerator, smart sprinkler system, digital assistant, and so on, may provide a gateway into your network. A couple of years ago, a casino lost 10 gigabytes of their high rollers' personal information via a wireless fish tank thermostat installed in their lobby. That is how the hackers got into the network and then downloaded all that information. Most wireless routers have a second guest network that you can put your IoT devices on. Always, and I mean always, change default passwords on any device. There are web pages that list the default accounts and passwords for most every device. All the bad guys need to do is figure out what make and model devices you have installed, which is trivial, and then they can log in with the default accounts. This is Hacker 101, and all you have to do is miss one password. Welcome to my world. Let's talk about email. In general, you should save attachments to your hard drive before opening them. Not all scanners will check email attachments without saving them first. Also, before you click on a link, you should evaluate the source, whether it looks right, and if it is worth potentially getting a virus from opening that link. If I get a link from a friend that I don't recognize or doesn't look right, I just don't open it. Looking at a cat or a kitten video just isn't worth getting hacked. Keep your antivirus software up to date. Although Windows Defender is now considered pretty effective within the industry and is automatically updated every 6 hours. Let me know if you have any questions about this slide.
I wanted to add something, Jim. A lot of us are working on our work computers from home, and I don't know about you guys, but our VPN, our virtual private network, is sluggish, and I don't like getting on it. And what that does is it means that my computer is never up to date with patches. So I've tried to be better about making sure that I connect to the VPN at least once a day. I might just connect to make sure that I get any updates, but you know, just one of those things that I grew up in cyber, I should know better, and I was doing it. So just, you know, as a reminder, make sure you're connecting to your VPN so that whoever is managing your IT can push those patches and updates to you.
They're telling us to stay up on the VPN at least 4 hours a day to make sure we get the patches. So never click on a link in an email you are unsure about. This is where the vast majority of ransomware, viruses, Trojans, this is where they come from. I don't know if you can see it, but if you look down above that link, the DITRA portal, you can see that I've hovered over that link and it'll tell you where it's going to go. The blue underlined address is what I refer to as a presentation address. But clicking on that link doesn't mean that that's where it's going to take you. So you want to hover over that link, and it should tell you what the actual link that it's going to take you to is. And if it doesn't look familiar, just don't do it. Okay? This is the single biggest reason that companies get hacked. Our fire department got hacked here. Somebody clicked on a kitten video or something. Make sure your employees and your family members understand the risk of clicking on links. If you have an employee that is performing sensitive work, you may want to provide that employee a second workstation to do that work off the network if possible. I have a separate computer for my finances. I don't do anything but finances. No email, no browsing, nothing. You should also realize that you can get malicious software from a photograph, a video, an audio file, an office document, or just by going to the wrong website. If you happen to have a smartphone, you can get malware from just clicking on a link in a text, or if you have WhatsApp, you can get malicious software by answering a phone call on WhatsApp. Personally, I've all given up on social media. There are too many malicious things going on. The Chinese are watching me, the Russians are watching me, 50 very attractive young women want to be my friend on Facebook, and so on. If you are traveling, wait until you get home to post on Facebook. Right after we got to Budapest to get on a river cruise, somebody posted a picture of us in Budapest and announced we were going on a river cruise. Now the whole world knew that my home would be empty for the next 2 weeks. If you are contacted by anyone on Facebook or anywhere else on the internet asking for money, make sure you verify it separately. There's an interesting story about a fellow that changed girlfriends. When he shared his Netflix account, his new girlfriend could see all the movies he had watched with his ex. This resulted in some friction. So you may want to consider the ramifications of sharing accounts. Also, if you must use social media, make sure you restrict your privacy settings so only your friends can see your posts. Then there was a story about the fellow that gave his old iPad to his child. What he forgot to do was change the password on his cloud storage account. The child asked the mother who that lady was with daddy in all the pictures. Or the fellow that let his new girlfriend have access to his cloud storage account, and she got to see all the intimate pictures of him and his ex in various parts of the house that they now share. I don't know what happened in the first story, but in the second story, he ended up buying a new house. As I have mentioned before, when you respond to unknown texts or emails or even voicemails, make sure you know who you are talking to. As far as app stores, Apple is pretty good about checking the applications for security. But if you are on an Android, it's the Wild Wild West. Be careful. Never jailbreak your phone. When you jailbreak your phone, you have administrative access, and it makes it much easier to break into your phone and install malicious software.
James, I don't understand the jailbreak. What is that?
That's where you can take your phone and give yourself administrative access to it. It means you can install any software, you can run software without any kind of passwords. It's bad stuff. Not that many people do it now, but a few years ago they used to do it all the time, just so they could run certain games and things.
Yeah, or Keith, a lot of people will do that if their phone is, they bought their phone at Verizon, they want to go somewhere else, and Verizon won't let them out of, their phone being tied to the Verizon network. People will jailbreak their phone so they can go connect to another network. I think they don't understand the implications when they do that.
Thank you.
Make sure that your children understand that stranger danger also applies to the internet. There are bad people there as well. Human trafficking is rampant, and the majority of weekly cybersecurity updates that I get from DHS are people being sentenced for child pornography, also known as CP. In fact, our law enforcement agent where I work left because he had a small child and he just couldn't stand to see any more CP. It is much more prolific than you realize. Another piece of trivia is that Google has a record of every search you have ever performed all the way back to the beginning of Google, just so you know. At work, you may want to institute a cybersecurity training program. Ensure that your employees know to verify who they are communicating with. There was a small local company with a new employee running payroll. At what she thought was a request from the company president, she sent him all the company W-2s. She later saw him in the hallway and asked if he had received the W-2s. He didn't know what she was talking about and told her that he had never asked for them. Unfortunately, it was her second week on the job, and she was now beginning a new job search because she had cost the company $130,000. It never hurts to pick up the phone and verify that they actually sent you that email or text before you take action on it. Oh, and make sure that you make the call. There have been significant strides in creating voice files that sound exactly like a given individual. There was another case where an employee acted on a voicemail from the CEO, he thought, and he transferred $150,000 to an outside account. I'm not sure if he still has his job. Here's a new twist on cybersecurity for this year. In order to ensure that they do not miss your requests, most digital assistants are always listening or randomly listening. This will ensure that when you're talking about a new sweater or jacket, they can add it to your shopping list without you having to ask. Whenever you are conducting a sensitive conversation or meeting, you may want to mute or unplug your digital assistant. You are never going to commit the perfect crime if Alexa is listening. Trust me, law enforcement is all over. Also, you should consider your smartphone as just another monitoring device. Never have a sensitive conversation with your phone in the same room. No, turning it off isn't good enough. Neither is taking out the battery. Just make sure the phone is outside the room. You might want to consider, instead of downloading and installing the Zoom app, you can increase your security by just using the web interface to access a meeting. Also, if you're going to download the Zoom app, you should get it directly from the Zoom website. There are a lot of malicious Zoom apps around the internet. You should use passwords, use the waiting room, don't record sensitive meetings. And also, you may want to consider installing a camera cover over your camera. Costs about $3. Who's right on top? Here are some tips on the ubiquitous ransomware. It's easy to get and plant ransomware with a potentially very high payoff for them. Most ransomware is planted by someone clicking a link on an email. Train your staff to be wary of clicking links and opening files of any kind from an unknown source. Also, make sure that you have an effective and regularly tested system backup. This is the easiest way to make sure you can recover from a ransomware attack. Just so you know, NIST just released a new publication on how to recover from a ransomware attack. Let me know if you want a copy of it. Also, make sure that your backup is not accessible via the network. Most recent ransomware attacks start by encrypting network files first in order to ensure that your online backups are not available for recovery. You might know that the state of Utah just got hit for $450K. And about a week ago, a hospital had a ransomware attack. They had to turn a lady away, and she died before she got to the next hospital. So they're looking for those hackers with a manslaughter charge. In the time of COVID, keeping your device clean is probably of some interest. I recommend using alcohol wipes, but take care not to allow any liquid inside the device. Always spray cleaning solution on the cloth and not on the device. The cloth of choice is microfiber. Using wood-based paper towels can scratch your device or screen. Yeah. I have a perfume sprayer that has alcohol in it that I can use to sanitize something before I touch it, such as door handles, gas pumps, and so on. Protect your smartphone. You should have a screen lock set up and or a biometric authentication such as fingerprint reader. You may want to consider installing a Find My Phone app. Most of these will not only help you locate your phone, but will allow you to erase or zeroize your phone remotely if you cannot recover it. Most types of phones require you to set up the remote erasing of your phone in advance. If you do lose your phone, you may want to activate your Find My Phone, and if it doesn't look like you're going to quickly recover it, erase it. If that does occur, change all your passwords, call your institutions, and notify them of the loss. And if you do financial transactions on your phone, I do not, then you may want to freeze your credit file. This is par for the course. Every time there's a disaster or a tragedy, someone will try and take advantage of it. Earthquakes, tsunamis, hurricanes, floods, and so on. There will be phishing emails, false websites seeking donations, emulation of legitimate websites, or email campaigns to plant malware, and so on. Here's a URL for the U.S. Computer Emergency Response Team report concerning some of the scams going on due to COVID-19. You can also subscribe to their reports if you are interested, but they do come in pretty regularly and may overwhelm your inbox. If you are interested in learning more about advanced persistent threats, do a search on FireEye Advanced Persistent Threat, and you will see all the APTs that are currently identified. It's kind of interesting. Beware of employment scams. Unemployed, isolated people may get taken advantage of by unscrupulous crooks. The full 9% of internet scams are related to employment, and the median loss is $1,500 from the people that can probably least afford it. We've all probably had at least one free trial offer. Sign up for a $5.95 book, CD or DVD or whatever, and then you start getting them every month with an invoice for $24.95. Whenever you sign into a free Wi-Fi hotspot, make sure you know what you're connecting to. It is very easy to emulate a legitimate network and steal your logon credentials to any site you access, depending upon their security posture. If you are working on something sensitive, you may want to consider getting a VPN service such as ExpressVPN. Pretty cost effective. When you see any link in a text message or in a tweet, beware, because selecting that link may result in malware being installed in your device. They say just call the number to resolve an issue with your account or to provide shipping information for your gift card or your free vacation, etc. If you didn't initiate the transaction, let it go. If it looks legitimate or you're not sure, call them independently and ask about the email. Or there may be a charity looking for money to help feed malnourished children. Better off giving to Rotary, but if you want to give to a charity, go to a charity grading website such as Charity Navigator or GuideStar.org. I met my wife on the internet. I was introduced by her sister, and I lucked out. The only advice I can give you on the last item is to be careful. I really have not had much difficulty with online shopping, but I do tend to be careful about where I share my credit card numbers. If I'm not comfortable with the site, I'll use PayPal for payment. As we saw before, it's easy to make a website look very similar to a legitimate site, and anyone can easily purchase a device for a couple $100 that will emulate a website and steal your credentials. You will have to decide for yourself if that really is an assassination contract out of it. But I'm pretty sure that the only person that would make out for me being dead is my wife, and I'm worth more alive than dead. As for travel sites, I tend to try to independently verify a site, or I use a site that I'm already familiar with, like TripAdvisor, Kayak, Orbitz, Hotels.com, etc. These are some of the Center for Internet Security top 20 controls. If you're interested, do you have a business, you may want to consider looking at these controls and making sure that you've properly implemented them all. And these should be considered basic controls. And this is for other clubs. You all know this, right? So if you have any updates on any of those rides, we had the IFMR NA board meeting last week, and the ride next August is going to be Carlton Purnell Memorial Ride. There's another fellow that I need to get his name. I think it's Tim. Is Rory here? No? Okay. Anyway, we're going to do that as a memorial ride. It's going to be August 26th to the 30th in Maggie Valley.
Jim, that would be Terry Skoglin.
Okay. So we're going to do that as a memorial ride. We're going to do a ride on Friday and Saturday. We'll have probably a cookout on Friday night. We'll go to dinner Saturday night. So nice if you showed up Thursday afternoon or something, go home on Sunday. But there'll be more information on that. Uta, have you come up with any dates for a ride next year? Guess I made her mad.
She's muted.
Oh, is she?
Now we go. Hi, guys. So yes, normally I make every year a polio ride, you know that, but we have not found a date right now. So, and the Twisted Sisters, what you did, it's normally my ride. We want to do it last year, so we will look, you know, what's coming up. If we can make it 2021, I would love to, because it's a beautiful area up there. And, you know, we plan some daily rides, you know, over a weekend to say, okay, let's go, guys, you know, make a short connection to the IFMR members and then only go out and ride something. Yeah.
So one change in this slide is now the Australia International Ride for 2021 has been canceled.
Okay.
So they don't know what they're going to do now.
Okay.
So I've been telling people we're going to have a ride in 2022 for the convention. I'm assuming that's still true.
So with that, I'm working, of course, because my interest is, you know, to bring everybody over to the convention, right? And what I'm right now, I'm looking for some hotels. They are out of the contract with Rotary, and where we can stay all together. And maybe they have, you know, some restaurants close by. But what is the most important thing, that they have an area we can park the motorcycles very safely. In Houston downtown, this is not that easy, you know, and I'm sure there will be some from the area we're riding with us, and maybe we can make a tour after the convention or in front of the convention. That's an option as well, you know, if we decide we want to make that before the convention or behind, you know, but it's still, June is very hot, so I would prefer to make it before we go to the convention.
Sure.
so that we maybe, you know, when we know how many coming, not only the hotel where we're staying together, also, you know, I'm looking also, I get a tip from my motorcycle shop that there is a possibility to rent some motorcycles over here. So this is, I'm checking out as well, because I know that from, you know, Scott, our contact from IFMR in France, they want to come over. They want to come over for the convention. So, and for sure they have no bikes with them. So this is the main other thing what I'm looking for is to look for motorcycles that they can rent here so that we can make a trip. That would be great. And if we can publish it, I think they would love to be some, you know, really make a trip with us. Of course, in the hill country, because this is the best thing you can do over here.
Cool. Sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so this, you didn't know there's gonna be a quiz. What's the takeaway from this presentation?
Be vigilant with all your digital technology, especially your phone and everything else that you work with.
That's good. It's easier than that.
Go back to paper and pencil.
I get that a lot, actually.
If
Don't
you have
click on
questions,
things.
yeah, ask Jim.
Do not click on that link. That's right.
Do not click on that link. You know, guys, that's what my company does. We are a managed IT services company, and at least once a week, it is a phone call from somebody going, I got an email and I clicked on something, and yeah, I've seen ransomware up close and personal, and it can put somebody out of business. I mean, it is amazing. So, but I am very often having to say to people, don't click on links you don't recognize.
And it can be pretty savvy. I left Mantech, which is a very large government contractor, and 6 months after I left, somebody used my email address at Mantech to send out a link to the entire business development team that said, look at this fantastic capture plan that I found for this agency. It was very, very well put together. And I had somebody send me a text and said, I didn't think you were at Mantech anymore. And I'm like, I'm not. What are you talking about? Right? So it can be pretty, it can really be pretty sophisticated. So definitely back to what Jim was saying about hovering over that link, making sure the link makes sense before you click on it.
Okay, along that line, I do not have an AOL account anymore. So if anybody gets a bill from me, don't click on it. I got rid of it just because of that.
Yeah.
I had this week.
Too, yeah.
This week I had over this week and before I had the friendship request from somebody on Facebook I already had, or you know, not. And before I accept that, what I do now is to ask them, do you really send me a friendship friendship, how you call it, request? And if they, it was again this time that he said, oh, I'm not even been on Facebook. And so, you know, you can delete it. It's really critical. And in the internet, I prefer to go over VPN line. This is what I do because nobody can really see your IP address. And if I have to pay something, I pay it with PayPal and not with my own credit card. This is what I prefer to do.
Any questions?
Not yet.
Well done, Jim. Well done.
Yeah, good show. Good updates.
Oh my God.
Okay, that's my presentation. I'll update it for next year.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you very
All
much.
right. Thanks, Jim.
That's awesome. Scary, but awesome.
Yeah, I got a lot of people say they're never going to touch a computer again.
Are you cyberds.com? Is that you, Jim?
Cyber death.
Yeah, we should talk work stuff for real though. I just got your email. So, all right. Anybody
Yeah,
else?
Jim, a couple years ago, I was watching one of these programs and they audience things, and they had everybody fill out who thought they had the best security system on their computers. And the guy called some lady down from the audience, and she says, "Well, I've got the latest and greatest, and we can't be beat." And just then he clicked on his thing, and its image come up on the screen. He says, "Is that your front room?"
Oh my gosh.
And he had said, he says, "I sent you an email. You clicked on it." He says, "I took control of your computer. I could see and hear everything in that room." And everybody was flabbergasted by it. So, hey, I worked at GM. We couldn't have a camera unless it was my computer, my laptop had to have a piece of tape over the computer picture so you couldn't see anything.
They can do that with your phone too, without touching it. $100.
And the camera in your car and any camera. One of the things that I think people don't understand. So I used to be a part owner in a company where we contracted with Fortune 500 companies, and they'd say, "Hey, we're getting a new board member. His name is Joe Schmuckatelli, and he's our CTO." That's all they'd give us. And I would give them back a 60-page report of everything I could find on the open internet. Everything from, these are your kids, these are where they live, this is where where your grandkids go to school, this is your house because it used to be for sale, and all of these pictures are online. And this is how I'd break into it, right? So it's amazing what you can actually find just from your, what we call digital exhaust, your digital footprint that's online.
Yep. Yep.
Something to think about. Lock it down, lock it down.
Scary.
Definitely.
Is everybody sufficiently scared?
I'm going to say, unfortunately, all these kids live online nowadays.
Yeah, it's going to make it really hard when they want to be a covert agent one day. I'm telling you. I actually had someone at an agency tell me it's going to be very hard for them to find agents going forward because everybody's been on the internet since they were 10. Good point. I never thought about that. So. Well then. Thank you, Jim.
Oh, it's
always
Night,
enlightening.
everybody. I gotta hit the road.
Bye, Emilio.
Bye, Emilio. Have a good week.
Have fun driving your big old Kia.
That's right.
All right. Next week, I'm presenting, I think. So you guys get to listen to me tell you all the stuff that I should have told you months ago about the strategic plan for the year. Let's see. Mr. Doherty, would you like to join us? Would you like to lead us in the 4-way test to end our meeting tonight?
I'd be crazy to do that.
Do you need me to hold it up for you?
Of all the things we think, say, or do, first, is it the truth?
The truth.
Second,
Is it
fair
to all concerned?
3,
Will it build goodwill and better
friendships?
friendships?
4,
Will it be
Will it be
beneficial
beneficial
to all concerned?
5,
Will it be
fun?
Will it fun?
Hey, I want
6,
to hear the
is it
news.
legal?
Don't click on the link.
Is it fun?
6, don't click on the link. Yeah. Good night, everybody.
Thank you
Good
guys
night.
very
Hello.
much. Have a
Good
fantastic week. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
And
Bye, all.
remember, only you can click on the link.